Let me tell you about a man with no friends. And before y'all start feelin' sorry for him, hold up. 'Cause some of y'all in here right now got 1,000 followers and still feel lonely as hell. Ain't that right? You ever walk into a room full of people, laughter echoing off the walls, and still feel like you're the only one there? That's what it's like when you're surrounded by folks who don't really see you, who don't really care about you. You got numbers in your phone, likes on your posts, maybe even folks who show up to the party. But the truth is, asterisk asterisk, not all company is good company, asterisk asterisk. See, the mistake most people make is thinking that having a lot of people around means you're winning. That popularity is the same thing as connection. But let me tell you something straight. Some of the loneliest folks I've ever met had the biggest crowds. You think just 'cause you roll deep, you got love. Nah, some people in your life are just there to spectate your struggle, not support your rise. Some of y'all got friends who smile every time you take a loss. They say all the right things, but their energy don't lie. When something good happens for you, their face changes. Their words don't match their vibe. You ever notice that? You tell them you got a new job, a new relationship, a breakthrough. Suddenly, they get real quiet. Real dry. Oh, that's cool. Meanwhile, when you was broke, heartbroken, and struggling, they had all the time in the world for you. That's because asterisk asterisk misery loves company asterisk asterisk, and not everybody clapping is cheering for you. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying everybody around you is a snake. But snakes don't hiss anymore. They act like they love you. They buy you lunch. They sit in your living room, and the whole time they're collecting information. They're watching your every move, not to help you, but to one day use it against you. I knew a man once who had people all around him, cookouts every weekend, group chats buzzing, always someone to hang with. But the moment he started elevating, investing in himself, starting his own business, doing something different, they fell off, stopped answering, started throwing shade, not because he changed, but because he was no longer operating at their level of comfort. His growth made them insecure. His success exposed their laziness. That's when he learned the truth. He wasn't losing friends. He was shedding dead weight. The truth is, real friends aren't just there to cry with you. They're there to celebrate you. They're the ones clappin' the loudest when you win and callin' you out when you wrong. They don't need a spotlight, and they sure don't compete with you. If the people in your circle don't inspire you, support you, or challenge you to grow, you don't have a circle. You got a cage, and you can't fly livin' in a cage. So if you find yourself with fewer people around than before, don't panic. Take it as a blessing, because when the wrong people exit your life, the right blessings start walking in. Sometimes God has to subtract to multiply. He'll take away what you thought you needed to give you what you never knew you did. Being surrounded ain't always a sign of success. Sometimes the most peaceful, powerful season of your life starts with asterisk asterisk isolation asterisk asterisk. So stop counting heads and start counting character. Don't chase the crowd. Find your tribe. Or walk alone until your tribe finds you, because I promise you this, 5 loyal people will take you further than 50 fake ones ever could. You know, people get scared when they're alone. Like being by yourself is some kind of punishment. They panic when the phone stops ringing, when invites stop coming, when folks stop checking in. But let me tell you something. Asterisk asterisk isolation ain't always a curse. Sometimes it's divine protection. Asterisk asterisk sometimes when you feel like everything and everyone is leaving, it's not abandonment, it's alignment. See, we live in a world where people are taught to fear solitude. We fill every quiet moment with noise. We scroll, we text, we keep ourselves busy, not because we love productivity, but because we're terrified of being alone with our thoughts. We think if we're alone, something must be wrong. But what if I told you that the season of isolation is when God does his best work? When you're surrounded by too many voices, it's hard to hear the one that matters. All that outside chatter clouds your thinking. Everyone's got an opinion on your career, your relationship, your future. But most of them ain't qualified to guide you. And worse, some of them don't even want to see you win. So what does God do? He steps in and starts pulling people out. The folks you thought would be with you forever, gone. The ones you bent over backwards for, disappeared. You feel abandoned, rejected. But what you don't see yet is that you're being protected from something you couldn't. You ever look back on someone who left your life and say, "Phew, thank God that didn't work out. At the time it hurt." But later you realize that if they had stayed, they would have stopped you from growing. They would have talked you out of that idea. They would have discouraged that leap of faith. They would have planted seeds of doubt right when you needed courage. So yeah, it felt like you were losing. But really, God was doing addition by subtraction. Let me be real with you. Some breakthroughs can't happen in a crowd. Some healing requires silence. Some visions are too fragile to be shared too soon. That's why the isolation comes first. Because what's coming next is too big to be diluted by the wrong company. When God isolates you, it's not to punish you. It's to prepare you. It's to build your character when nobody's watching. It's to teach you how to stand on your own before you stand before the world. Look at any person who's made something of themselves. They'll tell you about a lonely season. A time when nobody believed in the dream but them. A time when they had to eat alone, grind alone, pray alone. But that's where the strength comes from. That's where the clarity comes in. That's where purpose gets forged. In the silence, in the struggle, in the solitude. And here's what's beautiful about that. Once you come out of that season, you don't depend on people the way you used to. You stop needing validation to move forward. You stop shrinking to fit into spaces you've outgrown. Because you've seen what happens when it's just you and God. That's more than enough. So if you're in that place right now, if you feel alone, cut off, misunderstood, don't curse the silence, embrace it. Use it, let it grow you. Stop trying to reattach to what God removed. Stop calling it rejection when it's actually redirection. Because when the noise clears, the vision becomes sharper. When the crowd leaves, the lesson becomes clearer. The next chapter of your life needs a stronger, wiser, more focused version of you. And that version can't be built in the crowd. It has to be built in the quiet. So don't fear the isolation. Walk through it with your head up. Because protection doesn't always look like a bodyguard. Sometimes it looks like being alone. And trust me, you're not alone. You're being positioned. You ever notice how people brag about how many friends they got? Man, I know everybody. They'll say, or I got people everywhere. But let me ask you something, asterisk, asterisk, how many of those people would show up at 2 a.m. when you're broken down on the side of the road? Asterisk, asterisk, how many would sit in silence with you when you're grieving, not to fix anything, just to be present? The truth is, asterisk, asterisk, it's not about how many people are in your life. It's about what kind of people they are. Asterisk, asterisk, we've been taught to chase numbers. Social media's got folks thinking quantity means value. But I promise you, 100 people won't do you any good if none of them are truly for you. In fact, having a lot of people around you can sometimes be more dangerous than being alone. Because when the crowd gets big, the masks get thicker. You don't always know who's there to lift you up. And who's there just to watch you fall? Let me break it down like this. Asterisk, asterisk, you'd rather have one loyal friend than 10 flaky ones. Asterisk, asterisk, one person who genuinely celebrates your wins, tells you the truth when you're wrong, and has your back when life hits hard. That's worth more than a stadium full of people just clapping out of habit. Most folks are friendly, but not all of them are your asterisk friends asterisk. There's a big difference between someone who hangs out with you and someone who stands by you, between someone who shows up for the party and someone who shows up for the pain. I've seen people lose everything and suddenly realize they never had real friends, just folks who benefited from their shine. The moment the lights went out, the room got empty, and that hurts, but it also teaches. It shows you how to pay attention, not to people's words, but to their patterns. Who's around only when it's convenient, who goes silent when you start doing better, who gets uncomfortable when you finally start loving yourself. That's when you learn. Asterisk, asterisk, a small circle with solid people will always beat a big crowd full of nonsense. Asterisk, asterisk, the strongest relationships aren't always loud. They're quiet, consistent, rooted in respect, not attention. That friend who checks in without a reason, the one who celebrates your small wins, the one who listens more than they talk. They might not be flashy, but they're asterisk real asterisk. And in a world full of fake, real is rare. And look, sometimes the reason you don't have a big crowd around you is because your standards got higher. You stopped entertaining gossip. You stopped tolerating disrespect. You stopped shrinking yourself to make other people comfortable. That kind of growth will make you lose people, but it will asterisk, never asterisk, make you lose anything you truly need. Because here's the truth. Asterisk, asterisk, the wrong people will cost you more than being alone ever will. Asterisk, asterisk, the wrong crowd will drain your energy, kill your dreams, and slow down your purpose. But the right people fuel you. They speak life into you. They tell you the truth even when it's hard. They want to see you grow, even if that growth means outgrowing them. So stop stressing about who walked away. Start focusing on who stayed, and who asterisk you're becoming asterisk. You don't need a lot. You need asterisk real asterisk, and real don't always show up in numbers. Sometimes it shows up in one friend, one partner, one mentor. Sometimes it's just asterisk you and God asterisk. And that's enough. Don't chase popularity. Don't settle for convenience. Choose connection. Choose people who see you, respect you, and uplift you. Because in the end, a life filled with real love from a few good people is worth more than all the fake applause in the world. There's something powerful about silence, but most people never give it a chance. The world we live in today is noisy, always moving, always talking, always distracting. People are constantly plugged in. Music blasting, notifications dinging, conversations everywhere. We've been trained to stay busy, to stay loud, because we're scared of what might surface in the quiet. But let me tell you something most folks don't realize. Asterisk, asterisk, growth doesn't happen in the crowd. It happens in the quiet. Asterisk, asterisk, you see, real transformation doesn't come from applause. It doesn't come from attention. It comes in the stillness, in the moments where it's just you, your thoughts, and your truth. That kind of silence can be uncomfortable at first. When it's quiet, you can't hide behind distractions. You can't pretend everything's fine. You have to face what's real, and that's exactly where growth begins. There's a reason why the most powerful breakthroughs often happen in solitude, When life strips away the noise, the parties, the people, and you're sitting alone with yourself, that's when your real work begins. That's when you start to reflect on who you are, what you believe, and where you're headed. You start to ask the tough questions. Am I happy? Am I fulfilled? Am I living with purpose? You don't find those answers in a crowd. You find them in the quiet. And let me say this, silence isn't empty. It's full of answers, but you gotta be willing to sit in it long enough to hear what it's trying to tell you. That's hard for most people. They want quick fixes and loud validation. But real elevation, that requires patience, that requires discomfort. You gotta be willing to disconnect from the noise to reconnect with yourself. You ever notice how a seed grows? It doesn't grow in the spotlight. It doesn't grow where everyone can see it. It grows in the dark, under the soil, in silence. Nobody claps for it. Nobody even sees it, but it's there, growing, stretching, pushing through dirt, preparing to break the surface. That's what happens to you in your quiet season. People may not notice you. They might even think you've fallen off, but you're not gone. You're growing. There's a version of you on the other side of silence that's wiser, stronger, and more focused. But you'll never meet that version if you're too busy running from solitude. Stop looking at being alone like it's a punishment. It's a gift. It's where your power gets built. It's where your character gets tested. It's where your vision gets clear. You can't grow if you're constantly surrounded by distractions. You can't heal if you're always avoiding what hurt you. And you can't level up if you're always trying to entertain everybody else. Growth requires discipline. It requires stillness. And most importantly, it requires honesty. The kind that only shows up when the noise dies down. Some of the most successful, grounded, fulfilled people in this world have mastered the art of sitting with themselves. They've learned to value their own company, to process their pain, to plan their next move, not on impulse, but in intention. They understand that solitude is not a setback, it's a setup. So if you're in a quiet season right now, don't fight it. Don't rush to fill the silence. Let it do its job. Let it shape you. Let it reveal what needs to be healed. Let it guide you back to who you really are. Because when the noise fades and the lights go out, who you are in that silence is the real you. And that version is where the true growth happens. They say you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, and there's a lot of truth in that. Your circle has the power to influence your mindset, your habits, your decisions, and ultimately, your destiny. That's why you can't take it lightly. Asterisk, asterisk, who you keep around you matters more than most people realize. Asterisk, asterisk, the people closest to you are either pushing you forward or pulling you back. They're either feeding your fire or draining your energy. There is no in between. See, your dreams are fragile in the beginning. They need encouragement, support, and belief. But too many people share their dreams with folks who don't have the vision to see them through. They let small-minded people speak into big, purpose goals. And that's where the damage starts, not with failure, but with doubt planted by the wrong voices. A toxic circle will talk you out of your potential before you even take your first step. They'll downplay your ideas, laugh at your ambition, and remind you of every mistake you ever made. Now think about the opposite. Think about what happens when you're around people who believe in you. People who challenge you to level up. People who call you out when you're playing small, who won't let you stay stuck because they see more in you than you see in yourself. Those are the kinds of people who elevate your life. That's what real friendship, real mentorship, real partnership looks like. Not just comfort, but growth. Not just validation, but accountability. Some of y'all are stuck not because you're lazy or unmotivated, but because you're in the wrong room. You're trying to grow in soil that doesn't support your roots. You're asking people who have never built anything how to build something. You're taking advice from folks who have never gone where you're trying to go. You can't soar like an eagle while hanging with chickens. It just doesn't work. Your environment has a language. If the people around you are always complaining, gossiping, or settling, that becomes your normal. You start to absorb it even if you don't realize it. That's why you feel drained after talking to certain people. That's why your goals start to feel distant. You don't just need positivity, you need alignment. You need people whose lives reflect where you want to go, not just where you've been. And listen, it's not about cutting people off for the sake of it. It's about recognizing what season you're in and what kind of support that season requires. Sometimes that means loving people from a distance. Sometimes that means redefining relationships that no longer serve your growth. You're not better than them, but you may be growing in a direction they're not willing to go. Protecting your peace doesn't make you cold. Prioritizing your growth doesn't make you selfish. It makes you intentional. Because here's the truth, asterisk asterisk, you can't build a strong future while constantly managing weak relationships. Asterisk asterisk, you can't elevate while carrying the weight of people who refuse to climb with you. So take inventory of your circle. Do they inspire you? Do they challenge you? Do they hold you accountable? Are they talking about ideas, growth, and solutions? Or are they stuck in gossip, excuses, and distractions? You don't need a big circle. You need a strong one, a wise one that holds space for your dreams and your development. Because at the end of the day, your circle is either your anchor or your wings. Choose wisely. The people closest to you don't just reflect your present. They shape your future. Surround yourself with vision, with strength, with purpose, and watch how everything in your life starts to shift upward. There comes a point in your life when you have to decide, are you going to keep following the crowd, or are you going to start walking in your purpose? That moment usually feels lonely. It feels like nobody understands you, nobody supports you, and nobody's walking with you. But let me tell you something. Asterisk asterisk, it's better to walk alone in the right direction than to march with the crowd going nowhere. Asterisk asterisk, see, walking alone doesn't mean you're lost. It means you're not afraid to go where others won't. Most people stay in the same place because they're afraid of being different, afraid of what people will say, afraid of not fitting in. But what they don't realize is that fitting in is often the fastest way to disappear. When you shrink yourself to keep people comfortable, you end up losing the very thing that makes you special. Your uniqueness, your vision, your fire. Walking alone with purpose means you're choosing growth over popularity. You're choosing discipline over distraction. You're choosing the uncomfortable road now so you can live with no regrets later. That kind of walk ain't easy. It takes courage. It takes faith. It takes a level of commitment most people just don't have. But it also leads to peace, strength, and fulfillment that crowds could never offer you. You gotta understand, purpose is not a group project. Your calling isn't meant to be understood by everyone. Some people won't get you, and that's okay. They weren't supposed to. That vision you have in your heart, that thing that keeps you up at night, that dream that won't let go of you, that's between you and God. Don't expect people to cheer for something they can't see. Don't wait for a crowd to validate what was placed in you since birth. People will question your path. They'll say you changed. They'll say you're acting brand new. But what they're really saying is you're growing. And your growth makes them uncomfortable. Because when you start walking with purpose, it shines a light on the people who have been standing still. And rather than move with you, they'll try to pull you back to where it's safe. But let me remind you, asterisk asterisk, you weren't born to blend in. You were born to stand out. Asterisk asterisk, sometimes walking alone is the test before the breakthrough. It's God saying, Do you trust me enough to walk this road even when nobody else does? It's in that solitude that your character is built. That's where you learn who you are, what you believe, and what you're truly capable of. That's where you develop resilience, discipline, focus. Because when there's no crowd to lean on, you have to learn to lean on yourself and on your Creator. Eventually, the right people will show up, the ones who match your energy, the ones who understand your mission, the ones who don't try to dim your light but help it shine brighter. But you can't meet those people until you first learn to walk alone. Until you stop settling for relationships that require you to abandon yourself. So if you're walking alone right now, keep going, keep building, keep believing. Every step you take in alignment with your purpose is a step towards something greater. You may not see it yet, but every sacrifice, every lonely night, every decision to keep going when it would have been easier to quit, it's all leading somewhere. Somewhere divine, somewhere powerful. Don't be afraid to walk alone. Be afraid to stay in the crowd that's not going anywhere, because the truth is, greatness often starts with a lonely walk. But that walk, that's where destiny lives. So straighten your back, lift your head, and keep walking, with purpose, with vision, and with the unshakable belief that what's ahead of you is worth every step.